interesting thing to me as a linguist or as someone as working with different languages in the world is I begin to notice that all over the world, people, as we're still thinking about going through the book of Genesis, and we see that in the book of Genesis how many different languages. But we see in the book of Genesis how the Tower of Babel, the languages were scattered. And we see we all speak so many different languages. But what's an amazing thing to me in working with different languages in the world is how many different languages still keep something related to the word mom or mama in their language. How many different ones? Like in English we have mama. In Chinese they say ma, ma, mom. In Thai they can also say ma. In Spanish they say mama. In Indonesia they say mama. In Filipino they can say mama. In French they say maman. In Armenian they say mom. In Albanian they say mama. In Greek they say mama. In Hindi they say ma. In Malay they say mama. In Italian they say mama. In German they say mama. In Vietnamese they say ma. In Khmer they say ma. And Slovak say marsh, something. Anyway, it's very interesting, that God has seen how. I mean, to me, this is interesting and seemed to be evident that hey, there was a time when we spoke the same language. So that's interesting. Now, interesting example in motherhood from nature is the gray whale. The gray whale in the cold Arctic waters, when they are about to give birth, will swim thousands of miles and go to the warmer waters close to Mexico, where there is very little food for them to eat in comparison to the cold Arctic plankton that is abundant. And they do that in order to protect their prey, to protect their children from the predators. And they, even if it means they have to go without food, and these gray whales will actually, during the process of giving birth to their baby, feeding their baby, staying there for a while, letting them get big enough to be strong, and they will lose 8 tons because of the lack of food in the waters where they are. But to protect their young. And so as we think about the joy and the pain of motherhood, all of you who are mothers, you have experienced pain, we know. And we are thankful. I'm thankful for the pain that my mother experienced, both in giving birth to me as well as taking care of me and putting up with me. But there is joy and there's pain in motherhood. And I think about the joy, Eve. We think about Eve had, when Eve was the first mother, and the name Eve means the living one or life. She was called Eve in that she was the mother of all living. And all of us are descendants of Eve. And the first child she got, Cain, she said, I've gotten a man-child from the Lord. And she called him Cain. And Cain means to get or to acquire. And and as she gave birth to Cain there and was so happy. And the joy that she had of giving birth to Cain and realizing that God had given her a special gift that day. And as the baby cried and she tried to teach him and remembering, it's like she's remembering, back when they had perfect fellowship with God and now they lost it. And she's trying to teach Cain about God and trying to teach him the way of God and what she remembered of God and what she had done, sin or whatever. And then she's teaching Cain. And then, Cain means to get or to acquire. And then Eve gave birth again and gave birth to Abel. And as I'm just kind of going through this, and then we're thinking of going through the book of Genesis in a few weeks here, but we see that Abel is born. No, as I was preparing to share something for Mother's Day, one of the most interesting things that I had that come across my attention that I really had not realized before is that the name Abel, it means something which I had really not thought about before that would mean, but Abel means emptiness. It means almost like vapor or breath. Abel, you say, Abel is counted in the Bible as offering a worthy sacrifice. And we looked at him with high respect and high regard. But his name means vapor or breath, emptiness, and almost like we would look at it as there's nothing good there. That's what his name means. And we say, well, why does Abel's name mean vanity or empty, nothing? Why does his name seem to say worthless, not of great worth? Why? Because it's just as I like in Romans chapter 7 where Paul said, and this is the gospel. You know, Romans chapter 7, Paul said, in me, that is in my flesh, there is no good thing. And Abel came with nothing good to offer of his own self. Nothing good in me do I offer you, O God, that you would accept me. I do not come to you claiming that I'm good enough that you would accept me. I do not come that I'm standing on the good deeds that I have done. I've been so good and so holy. I've been to church so many times, and I've read the Bible so many times, and I've done all of these good deeds, and I've come to you that, God, now you should accept me. No, Abel didn't come like that. He said he come to God and said, God, I'm nothing. I have no hope. I offer you this sacrifice in hopes that you would take, in confession that I should die. As this sacrifice dies, I should die for my sin because I am nothing. I'm a vapor. I'm a breath. But God accepted this sacrifice, and God said, yes, that's what I want from you. I want you to come, not in your righteousness, not in your pride and how good you are, but come to bring your nothingness to God, and there you will find that he will make you to be everything. Complete righteous by his grace. Amen?